All right. Let me check. I gotta check one thing. Y'all just give me 1 second to make sure I'm coming through clear. I didn't see it on YouTube. Yep. All right, there it is. We're going to start on page 5, and we're going to pull scriptures also. It says, for introduction, for centuries, the origins of the Native American tribes. Hey, Shalom, Yabashim Yah Shabrakatah. What's going on, Trooper? It says, for centuries, the origins of the Native American tribes have been shrouded in mystery, speculation, oral tradition, and institutional indoctrination by a society of eugenics. While mainstream history attributes the ancestry of the Native Americans to ancient migrations from Asia via the Bering Strait. And I'm going to pull up some compelling evidence that is going to debunk the Bering Strait. I'm gonna pull it up. Bering Strait. Let's pull this up, and then pull this article. It says the bottom line is that even though the physical corridor was opened by the 13th by 13,000 years ago, let me make sure it's up on the screen. It was several hundred years before it was possible to use it. That means the first people entering what is now the U.S., Central and South America, must have taken different routes. Whether you believe these people were Clovis or someone else, obviously we know that they were the so-called Native Americans, the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben. They simply could not have possibly separate population. But either way, the first people to reach the Americas in Ice Age times would have found the corridor itself impassable. An archaeologist at Southern Methodist University. This aligns with the Bible. 1 second. This aligns with the Bible when it says that the people came to a land uninhabited. Let me pull that. Let me get that off the screen. And then we'll continue on with this. Compelling evidence suggests as much more profound connection, one that links them are descendants of the tribe of Gad, one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Slagia. This bold statement, rooted in biblical prophecy, historical accounts, linguistic similarities, and cultural parallels, challenges conventional narratives and opens the door for fascinating re examination of history. We will uncover the truth behind lineage long forgotten yet deeply significant. So we're going to go to Genesis 49 and 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. And 18. This is Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the numbers of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls. Even science says that you are the seed of your father. So I've heard an erroneous argument to say that, oh, we're all mixed in. No, there are men still that are African American that are all right. We should be back. All right. We're going to go to Deuteronomy 33 and 20. And of course, this is a history class. And I got disconnected on the app. No, you can't join for this is a history class, but on Sunday at 5 o'clock, I do run a TikTok show. But let me go to the one that I wanted. This is Numbers 32 and 25. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben spake unto Moses, saying, Thy servants will do as my Lord commanded. 26. Our little ones, our wives, our flocks, and all our cattle shall be in their cities of Gilead. 27. But thy servants will pass over every man armed for war before the Lord to battle, as my Lord saith. These are the children of Israel, but more specifically, the Gadites, talking with Moses, preparing to go to war. You see so many movies about the tribe of Gad and how great they are. They were excellent warriors. Even today, their own culture, it shows in the fringes. Now, of course, when we're going to play a video for the doctrine of discovery, and then we're going to play a video of manifest destiny. Now, once you add Christianity into these Israelites, they're going to change. And it says they're going to lose their history. But we're going to keep on reading. We're going to go to 28 all the way to 33. So concerning them, Moses commanded Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun, the chief fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel. And Moses said unto them, 29, if the children of Gad and the children of Reuben will pass with you over Jordan, every man armed to battle before the Lord, and the land shall be subdued before you. Then ye shall give them the land of Gilead for a possession. 31. And the children of Gad and the children of Reuben answered, saying, as the Lord hath said unto thy servants, so will we do. They have been a warrior tribe since the beginning. We see that now. We see that in the spirit of so-called Native Americans, and they didn't disappear. These are the curses, and then we'll go into. Matter of fact, let's play I'll play this video. Let me know if y'all can hear it on TikTok. Make sure I'm streaming well and it's not jamming up on me. It's right here. Check this out, y'all.
Embedded in Americans' ideals about themselves, about being very nature of manifest destiny. This idea of being a chosen people was very much embedded in Americans' ideals about themselves, about being white, and about being Protestant. And I think embedded in that was a real sense of this idea of spreading democracy and republicanism to this vast territory and to these peoples that were situated in these places. Now, of course, what it does is it completely undermines the people who are already there in the land systems that are already there. So, in the case of Native Americans who had their own land systems, in terms of using the landscape for their agricultural and for their hunting needs, those systems were completely undermined and overrun by manifest destiny. And when they encountered Mexicans prior to the US Mexican War and throughout the war and at the end, they found a legal regime that was very different from the US system, which had been based in this yeoman Jeffersonian idea of the small individual farmer outsettling the American West. And when these two conflicting property regimes came into contact with one another, the United States very quickly and somewhat easily actually replaced those legal land systems. So today, when you fly over the United States, you're flying from New York to Los Angeles, and you look out the plane window and you see those little squares out on the landscape. What you're really seeing is manifest destiny. You're seeing the United States imposing the grid, the Jeffersonian ideal of the yeoman farmer, and the Northwest Ordinance onto a landscape that had very different sets of peoples, very different sets of property regimes and ideas about how to use that landscape. That idea of manifest destiny was something that drove Americans. It drove American foreign policy. It drove American domestic policy as Americans settled that space we call the American West.
That was an explanation, a brief explanation of manifest destiny. We tend to forget about these things. Let me go back. We tend to forget about these things because we believe that America was the land of the free and the home of the brave. Someone had to experience these things. The curses are also on the so-called Native American people. You never knew about the Taino slave trade. Nobody ever told you about the Taino slave trade. The slave trade was not just with so-called African American people. It was done to other nations of people. Now we're going to read it. The beginnings of Native American slavery. The enslavement of Native Americans began almost immediately after European contact. Christopher Columbus himself enslaved thousands of Taino people in the Caribbean, shipping many back to Spain while forcing others to work in gold mines under brutal conditions. These are talking about the tribe of Gad, the Northern Kingdom. I'll keep reading. As a matter of fact, I'll pull up. If we're gonna read the Bible and other sources, might as well pull up some other sources. Christopher Columbus led an expedition resulting in the capture of over 1,500 Tainos that were to be sent to Spain to be sold, and an unknown number of unalivings. This gives credence to the curses in Deuteronomy. The Spanish, Portuguese, English, and French all participated in trade, viewing indigenous people as labor force that could be exploited for plantation work, mining, and domestic servitude. You can look this one up also. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain established a foreign council to oversee their newly claimed territories in America. This is talking about the enslavement of the Taino Indians. I don't know why people want to exclude others from being the children of Israel when they went through the same things that we went through. They were unalived in the land, and they treated the people who came off the boat. They treated them fairly, and with that, they took their life. This is Deuteronomy 28:15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. We are reading the same slave trade, the same enslavement, the same conditions that were done to these people. Hey, shalom, sis. Yahweh Shemal, Thumb by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. We're going to skip to 32, 28 and 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. The might in thy hand is talking about the ability to overcome your oppressor. Every time something happens, we're looking for, why didn't they fight back? Of course they did. But this is what happens when you don't serve your power. When you turn your back on your power, there are so many, like we look at so-called black people as being Christian, but there are so many other gods in Christianity and so many other gods that the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben took on. You can Google them. They took on the wind god, the sun god, all of these other gods they took on in replacement of the Lord. You were supposed to serve the Lord. I'm going to play a video. Man, I think it's on this phone. I don't know if I can send it there. There's, matter of fact, I can pull it up. Man, thank God for the internet to help. I want to play this video of a woman who is a so-called Native American. It might be here. And she's going to explain how they lost their heritage and their people knew that they walked with Christ. I wish I could find it. Let's see if I can find it. It's pulling me off of what I wanted to do, but I wanted to see if I had it. Maybe I can. I don't think I can close this and grab it. Better yet, let me try one more thing. Y'all bear with me. I'm trying to find this one video that I saw last minute. And she specifically said that her people walked with Christ. Check this out. And then I'll get back to the scriptures and I wish I could bring it up. Man. But the clip I'm looking for is a lady under the name of Navajo Grandma. And she gives a breakdown of, let me see if I can find it. Got it. There it is. Listen up to this.
The white people brought us Christianity. It is not, well, they brought it later, but we as Native Americans and my people as the Dene people, they walked and talked with Christ long before the pilgrims came. They knew him, and and he walked around among them. When you think about the drawing on, that these men had, and then think about what my grandfather and the 12 men spoke about. And they get, my grandfather said that they built a ship and they came across the great waters, and it was tumultuous. And they came here to this land. They were in the East. And there was millions, eventually, millions and millions of Native Americans that were, that just covered this land. And the argument is always, well, the white people brought us Christianity. It is not, well, they brought it later. But we as Native Americans.
This is an ancestor who is saying exactly what the Bible says. What we've been saying since 1969, explaining that the children of Israel are scattered to the four corners of the earth, losing their identity. It's all over the place. And we're going to read some more curses, and then I'm going to jump back. I'll just start here because there's so much information. Bear with me, y'all, on the reading, but this is something that's very, very important. As part of their policies, they sought justification for the enslavement of indigenous people. In 1503, Spanish legal scholars and theologians under royal directive debated whether Native Americans possessed rational souls and could be considered civilized under Christian law. What does that sound like? That sounds like when they told blacks that you're 3/5 of a man, that you're half human, that you don't have the mental capacity to be able to thrive in America, like you need assistance in being human. They treated the tribe of Gad, the indigenous, the same way, questioning whether they had the ability to be human. So don't try to exclude somebody because of their skin color. We are not a skin color organization, a school. We are a body of the Lord that is telling you, look at this. They've gone through the same thing we went through. And I'm reading it. And I'm going to go back to the scriptures because it always goes back to the scriptures. Whether Native Americans possessed rational souls and could be considered civilized under Christian law. Christian law, let's not forget Christian law. And we're going to play a short clip of the Christian law, which would be the doctrine of discovery. The doctrine of discovery was just awful. To claim yourself to be a Christian under the doctrine of discovery, Salakia, would be horrible. Then you embrace all of the theologies and pain and hurt that went along with it. Let me just go ahead and pull it up. A quick breakdown of the doctrine of discovery. Let me know if y'all can hear it.
In the case of Johnson and McIntosh in 1823, the United States Supreme Court enshrined the doctrine of discovery, the idea that European powers acquired superior title over indigenous lands simply by discovering them.
Let's play that again. That European powers acquired
superior title over
indigenous lands
simply by discovering them.
When you can't discover something that someone was already on. This is the doctrine of discovery. This is Christianity. This is the spread out west. But that's just the American spread out west. This is the spread in Spain. All of what I'm reading, I'm bringing a contrast to what's happening in Spain, to the Tainos. Then I'm giving the same breakdown of what happened to so-called black people in America. It's the same thing. The same slave trade, the same ships, the same oppression. Let me finish this video out.
This doctrine was imported from European colonial law, a fiction that transformed indigenous nations into mere occupants, their rights extinguished without treaty or consent.
This has got to be one of the craziest.
If you're just tuning in on YouTube or Facebook, we're going over the history of the tribe of Gad, the so-called Taino Indians, especially in Spain, and then we're comparing it to the slave trade in America. So this is history that you haven't learned or you may know about, but it needs to be brought up because we have a history of the children of Israel being spread across the four corners of the earth. And no one wants to look at the hurt, the pain, the enslavement of others, and they may not know the history and how it all correlates with the Bible. I think I'm looking for some kind of word. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. Now let's go back to this and read. Spanish legal scholars and theologians, under royal directive, debated whether Native Americans possessed rational souls and could be considered civilized under Christian law. The requirement, though, a legal document drafted in 1513 declared that if natives refused to submit to Spanish rule and convert to Christianity, it's the same thing that happened to so-called black people in America. Take your identity and convert. They could be enslaved. This decree provided a legal and religious pretext for Spanish conquistadors to wage war against indigenous peoples, arguing that their resistance or perceived lack of civilization rendered them subject to enslavement under Spanish law. This policy laid the groundwork for widespread forced labor, exploitation, and the systematic destruction of Native American societies. Back to 48. Which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things, and he shall put stroyed tight upon thy neck until he have. Let me go to 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far. Flip back. Where was the nation that came for the Native Americans? From afar. The so-called pilgrims who spread Christianity, manifest destiny, we just went over. One second. Nope, can't join. One second. Who was behind the doctrine of discovery? Does anybody know? The people behind the doctrine of discovery was the Catholic Church. In the 15th century, proclaiming the right of Christian nations to take possessions of the lands of non-Christians. In the interest of saving their souls, they took their land. To save your soul. I don't understand that ideology, but to save your soul, they have to unalive you, force you into Christianity, and take your land. Christianity is a drug that must be eradicated on this earth. Caribbean and European markets, thousands of Native Americans, especially from North and South America, were transported to the Caribbean, Spain, and North Africa. I just read the Doctrine of Discovery. And who started it? the land seizures. Now, these are the slave raids, but I want to read this on page 21. While the image of the Middle Passage is typically associated with African slaves, Native Americans also endured horrific journeys across the ocean and cramped, disease-ridden slave ships that were shipped to Europe, while others were transported to Caribbean plantations where they were forced to work alongside enslaved Africans. That means we were enslaved hand in hand, together, not just separate. We were shipped together. You came on one port, I came on another port. There was no Caucasians in this. They were the slave masters. We were shipped together. That's why you hear the title, I'm Caribbean, I'm Jamaican, I'm Haitian. Then the Tainos were shipped to Spain, some to the Caribbeans. All on plantation. You ever heard of the sugarcane plantations? All of us experience these curses, and I'm gonna keep reading them. See how much time we got. Let me read a few more. Let me continue with 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar. 21. From the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. The natives, the Tainos, the indigenous, there's a record of them speaking Hebrew. They weren't speaking English. A nation of fierce countenance, 50. Deuteronomy 28 and 50. Which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. Back to 21. Native and African slaves together. Many Native American slaves were mixed into the African slave population, causing their distinct identity to be erased over time. This led to the intermingling of African and indigenous cultures, particularly in the southeastern U.S. and the Caribbean. Historians estimate that between 2.5 and 5 million Native Americans were enslaved across the Americas, though the true number is difficult to determine due to poor record keeping. All of our people fit the curses in Deuteronomy. Let me open the floor just for anybody if you have any questions. For those that check, hey Yabashim Yashabrakatha. We're most notably known about the Trail of Tears, but the things that we don't read is this. European colonists implemented harsh policies to strip them of their identity. I just want to cruise through a few of them. Natives, slaves, were often baptized and renamed. What happened to us? We were whipped and renamed, given new names, given new identities, giving the slave Bible. This happened to the Native Americans. We got to start paying attention to the oppression of others, especially when the Bible says that we will go through it together. Now, if we go through it together, guess what we should also do together? We should come back together. You should no longer look at your brethren or just my people, so-called black people. Oh man, we FBA, that's garbage. You should look and say, what does the Bible say? What is the reference of those people who were also enslaved, whose identity was also taken? Puerto Rican means rich port. Look at everybody who has been replaced by their identity and wonder, what's your history biblically? The indigenous or the Tainos or the Native Americans, whatever you want to call them, they now worship the sun, the air, the wind, when that was just a replacement when they came from walking. I just played the video of the lady saying her people walk with Christ, that her identity was taken away, and that she had to learn, we are the people of the book. It's all here. It's in the Bible, and I got tons of Bibles just sitting around me. It's in the Bible. It's in the records. You got to seek out the records. One more. You got to seek out the records and read, because other historians are recording these things. The oral traditions are now being recorded so we can see them and say, wow, how did you become a Christian? There's a Native American community in Cincinnati that I've been trying to hook up with, but they have such a I don't want to say hatred. They have a thing with the Bible that they can't trust it, and it's because of what was used to enslave them. It's been done to them, and what's been done is so bad that they don't want to hear nothing out of this book. So they're going to pray to the sun, pray for rain, do the rain dances. They're going to do it because the Christians, the oppressors, use this thing to drive them away. You destroy a people by taking away their identity, especially in pain and hunger and in thirst, like Deuteronomy 28 says. I'll keep reading. Many Native Americans were labeled as colored or mulatto in records, which erased their tribal heritage and made it difficult for their descendants to trace their ancestry. Over time, many native slaves intermarried with African slaves, contributing to the mixed African native ancestry found in many Black and indigenous families today. We hear that all today, saying, oh, I got Indian in my family. It's true. If you got Indian in your family, then the Native Americans should be your family. All of the 12 tribes should come back together and be your family. We all went through it. We all had to come together at some point, and we all got to fight together. That's the part that we miss out. The brutal treatment of Native Americans and European settlers, and later the U.S. government, is one of the darkest chapters in history. Listen, just to say it, the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Who can do all of these things and tell you to turn around and love America and celebrate July 4th? That's not evil. Who can tell you to forget the past? So much so that they erase your past. Like, hold on. You want me to forget the past you erased? No, you want me to forget all of the pain that you gave me so that I could forget it. That's the whole point. I'm not going to forget my past. These records and these books and these biblical breakdowns are going to become larger and larger and larger until you can no longer deny them. So you can stop praying to the wind god and the wind father and the rain god, and all of those other things will be debunked and destroyed because Christ is going to rule. They were talking with Moses, the tribe of Gad, the tribe of Reuben were preparing for war, talking with Moses in Numbers. I read it in Numbers 32:25. They're Israelites, whom pertaineth the adoption, the glory, the covenants, the services, the giving of the law, and the promises. And they went through the same thing we went through. All of the massacre, the Sand Creek massacre, the Trail of Tears, the Wounded Knee, the California genocide. We have to know that we have an enemy, and that enemy is going to put us against each other by telling us that we're different because we look different. Don't allow skin color and looks to deter you from coming back to your true identity, being the lost 12 tribes of the children of Israel. No matter what you are called today, you have a biblical origin, and you should follow that. Learn it, come back into the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West Harlem, New York, 125th Street, under Commanding General Hanna, and get your heritage back. Get your culture back. This history class was just a small portion of the many things that are here on the earth. It is a service that I am proud to do, to wake people up and say, you know what? You're my brother. You're my sister. And if we keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, and if we drop all of the other identities that we were so called given, we're embracing something that we're not. And it's showing. The more and more and more we try to turn away from the Lord by being African American, by being, Native American, when you're really the tribe of Gad and the tribe of Reuben, then we can start to fix and work on our problems and separate from this beast and this monster and build each other up. Excuse me. That is the whole duty, to serve our God, to serve our power, and be an Israelite. With that, this is the ISUPK Monday history class. Shalom.